Good evening, randomizer fans, and welcome to this week 3 race, randomizer between the Fendrana Drifters and Team 63 and a third, represented by Jet and Kuchiri. My name is Mindami. I'm joined by Red Armor on comms. How you doing tonight, Red?
Hello, I'm doing okay. Thank you very much for asking. So this is going to be an exciting race. Both of these teams have so far been fairly successful, with the Fendrana Drifters taking all of their matches so far, and Team 63 1/3 having barely lost that match that was going on before this one.
Fendrana Drifters actually have had one loss. I believe that was...
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so these teams are currently, going into week 3, they were all tied for first place along with the Titans Mitts. Titans Mitts won one of their league week 3 matches, and this was actually a back-to-back of Fendrana Drifters and Team 63 and a third. And Fendrana Drifters took that match earlier this evening.
Right. So we had some starting stuff going on here. We found a lamp here in Link's house, and one of the runners, Kuchiri here, has been going the uncle route, while Jet went straight for the sanctuary.
Yep. Took a look at the lumberjack. That's not going to be required. Looks like they picked up Cane of Samaria in sanctuary.
Yep, that is true as well. That is an item that we are not going to need right now. It's useful as a weapon, I guess, but it is going to be an item that we're probably going to need later on. For now, it doesn't do much for us in terms of progression.
Well, it is a useful weapon. Looks like Jet got lucky with a magic drop, and quick map check looks like that was pendants at Eastern and Desert with a regular crystal on Hera.
Yeah, it was a green pendant on Eastern, actually. And yes, a crystal on Hera. I did not catch Desert, but I guess a pendant.
Kate of Samaria is a really interesting find. Jet got a full magic refill, maybe perhaps from the bush crab or one of the tree pulls, but it's a really good weapon since you've got the blocks to hit things with, and it's also really useful in setting up some fun and Scylla stuff.
Oh yes, of course, there have been some glitch shortcuts been found recently that allow us to use the Cane of Samaria in very peculiar ways to skip certain things. So the icebreaker glitch that has recently been approved as being legal. We also found half magic, so even if Jet did not find that full magic drop, would have filled up that magic.
Okay, that's really great. That incentivizes maybe an early escape play. Along with that lamp in Link's house, can go all the way to Dark Cross, because in Animizer, Dark Cross is not as safe a check as it normally is. It's normally a very easy dark room to navigate.
Indeed, of course, but with Animizer, those snakes and rats and keys that normally don't really, do much, could be replaced with all kinds of nasty enemies. Could be chain chomps, could be roller traps. We do find a blue mail that is going to help us navigate this fairly dangerous light world. And we also found a red potion here in the well and a boomerang.
Those are all nice items to find early. They're ones where if you find them late in the siege, you're like, it's not worth it. But the earlier you get it, the better.
Oh, yeah.
Jet a little bit low on cash, and Kuchiri probably as well, hoping to get up a few more rupee drops in the village before going to visit the bottle.
There's a bunch of mini Helmas and a mini Moleworm here in the chicken hut. I guess dinosaurs are kind of the predecessors to birds, so makes sense.
Sure, a whole evolutionary tree here. Chicken hut is one of these checks that can get really crazy in Animizer because you've got 4 enemies in a very small room, and when they get randomized to Hinox or Lionels, it can get a little bit crazy in there.
Yeah, that can be really... I've also seen rollers, so they the roller traps just rolling through the chicken hut, and you having to navigate that is kind of annoying. But luckily, mini helmets, mini molder, are not too much of a problem here for our runners. And of
Okay.
course, since we did get the bottle, we also were able to check the sick kit.
I'm a little surprised Jet chose to buy bombs here. We've been really low on cash. Both of our runners had to skip the bottle vendor, and there were quite a few bomb drops. They were exiting Kakrika with 6 bombs in their inventory, and they had a weapon to use for Cane of Samaria. So that seems a little bit of a strange play to me.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Kuchiri looks like he is... No, he's not going to buy bombs, but he's also not going to go and farm up for the bottle vendor either. They know that they'll get the rupees eventually, and they will be back to Kakriko.
And there's a 20 rupee on the library ledge. On Jet's side was so fast I didn't catch what it was, but it was just a big 20. So those boots, at least for that item, also not required.
Not so far, anyway.
Indeed. And Jet is going to take the standard South Shore route. Mini Moldrum Cave is also one of those places where Animizer can really screw with the room.
Now, it's interesting because I'm not 100... Oh, I was mistaken. It's actually a red crystal on Desert, not the red pendant. So we do have 2 Light World crystals.
Indeed. And with the Desert Palace being a crystal, boots being required is looming over our head.
Okay, and Kuchiri with that lamp, half magic, and Samaria is going to go do an escape, and there's one of those lovely rollers. Well, Jet is going on to that aforementioned mini Moldorm cave.
Look at
It's
this
actually
mess.
not
We have
too bad in Enemizer, I found. It's usually either Ropas, Popos, Vanilla Millie Moldorms, or those dark wall things that you get in Ice Palace that I don't know the name of.
Oh, there's a glove here in the first chest in the front of Escape. So that is one of the pieces we need in order to get Dark Relaxes.
Kuchiri going for bomb strats and escape despite having that Cane of Samaria with half magic.
Oh, and Mini Moldorm rewards us with a hook shot and a sword and another mail upgrade. Okay, so we have Justin Bailey here on Jet's side.
And a bug net to catch fairies if we need a little bit of extra safety, which in a regular siege you're generally not all that concerned about it, but in Enemizer you never know what you're going to run into.
For sure, yeah. Like that flying mushroom that drops bombs on that we saw on the way to the Mini Moldrum Cave on Jet's side. Those can deal a whole truckload of damage.
Absolutely.
And
we had talked about Cane of Samaria and bombs being a fake flipper setup. Fake Flipper is a little disincentivized in Enemizer because the enemies that can be in the water are absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. You might just run into a chain chomp that's sitting somewhere in the water, and that is unfun. We found a second bottle, also with red goo. Also kind of nice to find, like, especially on Enemizer, where there's a lot of damage going around, even though with red mail we're protected. And also one thing to note is that with the glove and the lantern, Kuchiri can now actually access Death Mountain, logically.
He absolutely can. There's 2 in logic check there. Is going back to Dark Cross. Without the key, I would have actually maybe save and quit to Sank and do it from the back there, just to get all 4 of those checks in the way. And there is a chance that this item in Dark Cross is our small key.
Indeed.
Find a second sword and a red boomerang in Sahasra's closet. So that's really fantastic. We've got all our Ancilla setup stuff. We've got some great weaponry. We've got health. It's just a matter of what bosses are we looking for.
Yeah, indeed. As we are playing Animizer, we are playing uh, with randomized bosses as well. So out of the 10 dungeon bosses, uh, and we can find any of them in any of the dungeon except for certain restrictions. Like for instance, Trinex cannot appear in Moldorm's rooms, and one of these bosses is going to be appearing twice, as the bosses that are in Ganon's tower normally also are shuffled into it. And man, this escape has paid out. We found a glove and a moon pearl, as well as a shell, which is an extra check.
That's really nice. We'll have to see where Kuchiri goes with that. Might go to check Shovel right away, and then maybe, hopefully, his South Shore checks to pick up those swords and the hook shot. And yeah, going to go and check that Shovel spot. Jet's running out of in logic locations without that glove. Going into Eastern, get 300 rupees. Theoretically, depending on what that boss is in the back, Jet could complete this and get that green pendant right away. Obviously, if it's anything other than Trinex, it is beatable.
And Cold Stare.
Oh yes, Cold Stare, of course.
Yeah, those are the two bosses that we cannot defeat currently. But it might be. Well, actually, Helmasar is. Well, no, actually, Helmasar could be defeatable, but doing bombs on Helmasar is kind of a pain.
Yeah, especially in the Eastern arena. In some other arenas, it's not so bad. Like if you've got a really big arena, or if you've got a ledge, like in Moldorm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kuchiri will get one of the swords and that red boomerang from Sahasra's closet.
I have not seen anything in Eastern so far.
Yeah, I saw 300 rupees and 10 arrows.
Yeah. Of course, with these rupees, we're getting ever closer to both get some Zora money as well as uh, being able to pick up whatever the ball vendor is holding, since we have not gotten that one yet from either of the winners.
Lots of possibilities here. We do have Mountain Play with Hook Shot. That gives us an additional 8 items. We obviously can get the one thing on Desert. We can get the one thing from Zora. And we have access to the Moon Pearl Lamps and 2 Swords, as one of our chat favorite places is available to us in terms of Aga Tower. And with the Hook Shot, that's not a terrible play.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have the glove, you have the umbrella. You're just one piece away from one item check away from getting Dark Alexis. Do you make the gamble and hope that Aga is going to be required, or would you rather check one of locations like, I don't know, Agina or Zora, and hope for finding the hammer or myth there?
Yeah, that's much more of a likely play. I don't think either of these runners are going to do the early Aga 1 play, especially with, Death Mountain open to them.
Yeah.
As well as whatever this green pendant item is. But we're just one room away from seeing what the first boss of this seed is. These kill rooms in Eastern can be really nasty in Animizer. We're lucking out here.
It's Helmasar, and with just 5 bombs in the Eastern Arena, Jet opts to not bother, especially considering it's a pendant boss. It might be the green pendant, but still, technically can defeat it, but you'd rather not.
Yeah, and Kuchiri with only 3 bombs in his inventory, unless one of the enemy's prize packs has bombs, is even less likely to continue with that.
And Jet is gonna go into the front of Escape here, gonna pick up whatever the uncle has. I think it's just a piece of the house or something. And then probably, I imagine, going into the front of Escape, because there's not much else Jet can do.
Yeah, that'll be good for him. He'll get his glove, and it will lead him directly to his Moon Pearl.
So I imagine once Kuchiri does the South Shore, that is the most likely play for Kuchiri after going through Eastern here, because that is the highest item density. There is still 5 items in Minimal Room Cave for Kuchiri, as well as 2 items in the dam, and the Ice Rock Cave item, and might also fake Flipper or something. So it's very unlikely that both of the runners are going to do something else before finding the Death Mountain axis.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And, you mentioned the fake flipper. Again, it's a really dangerous play, but with Kuchiri having that Moon Pearl, we'll have an additional 2 items that could be obtainable from Waterfall Fairy.
Mm-hmm. And Kuchiri opts to use one of those red potions, only to find that chest has a heart container in it. That's also the 3 items in Eastern Palace, the 300 rupees, the heart container, and the arrows. So the boss does not have anything of value, except for maybe whatever is on the green pendant. And it looks like Kuchiri is also going to check what is hiding here as the boss of Eastern.
It's also an information check. The way that this boss shuffle works is the 10 dungeon bosses are shuffled around, and 3 of them will appear twice. So there's a boss in each of the dungeons, and then also the 3 refights in Ganon's Tower. So if you see a Helmasaur here, then you know that either it's a duplicate or Helmasaur is out of the pool and you won't run into Helmasaur anywhere else.
Yeah. Of course, it's very possible that 2 of the bosses are in Ganon's Tower, so the bosses are shuffled within each other. So let's say Moldorm is one of the bosses that can appear, that appears twice in Ganon's Tower. That can happen.
Okay, Jet about to get his Moon Pearl. Kuchiri, are you gonna? Nope. 4 bombs is the bare minimum that you need for Helmasaur, but it's really difficult to line them up. They have to be underneath his mask. You can't accidentally hit the mask itself, otherwise it won't work.
Yeah, and looks like Jet is going to take the other path to Dark Cross, going the back route. Yeah, as expected, Kuchiri is going to do the South Shore now. We'll find their hookshot and their very important bug net, as well as a sword upgrade. And I imagine both runners will converge on Death Mountain.
That seems really likely. And this back of escape is not pleasant. I would say that Kuchiri made the right call in going from the front rather than from the back.
Mm. Yeah, lots of fire bars and whiz robes.
Okay, Jet has cleared his checks a bit quicker, and we do see that save and quit to Sanctuary to head up the mountain. So there's the 1 check on the Old Man, another one inside Spectacle Rock, and then 8 in East Death Mountain, with the 7 in Paradox and 1 in Spiral Cave, and 1 additional check on the floating island that is locked behind Titan's Mitts and the Mirror.
Yeah, but we can see what is on there, so we can check and know if we need these items or not, at least for the purpose of picking up that item. That said, the Old Man Cave can also be very nasty. Normally, like just a couple bats, but there's like 4 bats camping right at the end, and those can turn into some pretty nasty.
It really depends on what they spawn as. Sometimes you're lucky, and because the bats are hanging on the wall, the enemies end up spawning inside the wall. We'll take a look quickly. What's here? Oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it was just like something in a bunny beam and like those ice palace shadow enemies. Helmet beetles on Death Mountain are annoying though.
They're like, basically, just kind of like Dead Rocks light. Although they do a lot more damage than the Dead Rocks.
Yeah, and they're like faster. The red ones in particular are just super nasty because they dash really fast.
And I believe it takes 2 tempered to take care of them. So with Master Sword, it takes a long time to kill them.
And we see a heart container inside of Spectacle Rock and a Keen of Burna on top of it. That is not particularly a required item. Would be nice to have some invincibility, but it's rough. Of course, that might be, so to speak, the key to put Spy Cave into logic once we would find the hammer and Darkness Moment. Well, actually, we only need the hammer. I think.
Yep, exactly. And Jet said no thank you to that heart container inside Spectacle Rock with a red mail and 2 bottles. Feels fairly confident in his safeties. We'll see if Kuchiri goes for it. It is a long walk to go get it.
I imagine the Kuchiri is going to snub it as well. And there is the hammer. So, Aghanim, goodbye. We will not see you today. At least not your first iteration.
Nope, absolutely no reason to go up there. That's our Dark World access. And as soon as we get in there, we could theoretically clear Thieves' Town, depending on the boss, but that's it, really.
Oh, hello there. We've also find the Titansmith here on the upper or lower, depending on your perspective, part of Paradox Cave. So that means we basically can access all of Dark World except for the flipper-locked areas.
Okay, crazy call. You just got the hammer and Cane of Samaria and Titan's Mitts. If you get a medallion in the Dark Death Mountain checks, do you just go into Turtle Rock right now? It's 5 items.
No. And I'll tell you why. Because a Fire Rod is very likely going to block any progression in Talor.
And Kuchiri did opt for that heart container, and Jet is going to go into Tower of Hera.
Yeah, with that hammer, we can access this dungeon, and we can clear it. There's already one of the items. And we also have the hookshot, so we're probably going to see a Hera pot here from Jet. So yeah, small key.
And yep, I'm going to go and set up that Hera pot. Ooh, now I can't remember. There's usually something, if you pick up one of the items from the enemy, it can mess up your Hera pot setup, I thought.
I'm not too familiar with those specific details of the glitch, to be honest. Looks like, Jet is following the logic here. I tried once. If it doesn't work, it's faster to just, dip down.
Now, Trinex cannot be at Moldorm 1, however, Cold Stare can be. So if that is the boss at the top, that would be the only thing preventing Jet from getting this crystal.
Indeed. Could also be Helmasaur again, for all we know.
Of course. And Helmasaur in Moldorm 1 it's a mixed blessing. It does make bomb strats easier because you can just throw bombs on top of him. However, Helmasaur likes to hang out right over top of the hole.
Oh yeah. And of course, if you get knocked down, then, it is just like if you were fighting Moldorm. And you also have to be a bit careful because even if you use the hammer, if you use the hammer, you bounce back off of Helma's mask. And if Helma is hugging either the top of the hole or the bottom of the arena, you might be knocked off.
Jet went for the Death Warp in there. With Red Mail, the problem is all those enemies down there were only doing quarter hearts of damage, so it took a little bit longer, but still saved time than walking out.
And of course, one of the highest health enemies has to be in one of the kill rooms here, having a Hinox in this room.
Jet with only 3 bombs didn't want to go for the bomb strats. Hinox will die instantly if you manage to catch them with one of your bomb explosions. They don't actually take damage from their bomb explosions.
Well, there's the second item. Jet knows, okay, I found both of those, the Arrow of Destiny and some bombs, so I can just go up to the boss. So if you know how to do the Hera pot, you would not even have had to open the big chest. You can just pick up that one item and then you can go to the boss straight away.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a nasty boss. Vitreous, he's a bit easier because, as Jet is demonstrating, you can just hug this the top here of the room, and the lightning will never hit you.
Yep,
But
the eyeballs will still
still, yeah, the eyeballs will still come to you, but you have to bounce down once the small eyeballs are dead. And
Kuchiri didn't even do an attempt at Harapot. Maybe doesn't feel comfortable with it. With Master Sword, taking care of these eyeballs does take a little bit of a while.
yeah, but the only other option is really the hammer, and hitting those, like, as you can see, like, they come only narrowly up, and hitting these little guys with the hammer as they're coming up is a bit tough. So I can understand why Jet is opting for spin strat. And down we go. And as you can see, like, Beatrice is just bouncing down, and you're gonna have to avoid.
Going for Master Sword swings combined with hammer hits.
Yeah, Master Sword to line Beatrice up a bit better, and if the hammer has like a slightly delayed hitbox, so you don't want to use it and then miss. So timing those is a bit difficult.
Nicely done, Vitreous fight. That'll be the first crystal for Jet at 2653. And we'll go back, and he will go back across Death Mountain to do Spiral Cave and the Dark Death Mountain checks.
Mm-hmm.
Spiral Cave, another place that can be, very nasty in Enemizer.
Yeah, there's a lot of like rooms and checks that are normally like, this is easy. It's just a bunch of Bari or Popos, and then it's like chain chomps and rollers, and as you can see, there's like the last enemy, the gatekeeper, so to speak. There is a Lionel. We have another one here.
A second Lionel, and we've got those fast red guards.
Yeah, those Minotaur dudes from Ganon's Tower also. Yeah, luckily with Red Mail we can just tank a couple hits. And It looks like Kuchiri is opting to just go straight down into the arena. Ooh, well, hello there, beauty.
That's a nice flute.
Yeah. You know what that means?
That means that we can go back to the village and check what bottle vendor is.
Yes. It also means that once we find a medallion, we can full clear Misery Mire. And we have a Dark World check here. Charlotte Rock and Misery Mire are indeed the other two pendants, and Swamp Palace is the second 5/6 crystal.
Isn't that the case? We found that early Canis Samaria, and we may not need it for a dungeon, but you know what? It's very useful in both Ice Palace and Swamp Palace.
Indeed. And of course, it might end up being required for Ganon's Tower anyway.
You know what? I think with Kuchiri going down and able to take out some of the eyeballs with spins is actually going to go and take care of Vitreous a little bit faster.
And there is a Fire Rod in the Super Bunny Cave, so that means Skull Woods is available to us as well.
Okay. Do you dip Pendant Turtle Rock now? You're looking for flippers, you're looking for mirror, you're looking... I mean, I guess we don't have medallions, so that's the thing, right?
Yeah, that is at least the relief here. It is the Bombus Medallion that we need. That said, if I had the Bombus Medallion, I still wouldn't do Turtle Rock, because as you point out, it's a pendant. It's not even a green pendant. It's just a pendant, and even though it has a lot of items in it, unless there's the mirror in there, I would orphan the Mimic Cave. And B, there's an ice sword as well. And B, there are crystal dungeons I can clear.
Fair. All right, but with that ice rod, we now have everything we need to beat any bosses that we come across. We can take care of Trinex, we can take care of Cold Stare, have the hook shot for Argus.
Yeah, none of the bosses are out of logic anymore. We can clear all of them.
And Jet is going to go and take care of the flute, activate it, see what our bottle vendor held, see if it was anything useful that we could have used early in the seed, and if farming for money would have been advantageous.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much that it could be that would help us significantly. Like, at most, the boots, I guess. But the likelihood of the boots being in there is, like, not very high.
Boots would be nice. Bow would be nice. Jet would really love to find a mirror earlier about to go into the Dark World.
Yeah, for sure. And as expected, it was nothing at all.
And so it goes.
Yep. I mean, for the purpose of clearing this game, unless there is progression in Misery Mire or Rock, none of the medallions are going to be required at all. We have everything we can. We have everything we need to beat the game. No medallion is going to be required to beat the game at all. So all we need to do is find those items that we need.
And this is a really nasty Skullwoods overworld. You got those giant spikes, you got rollers, you've got chain chomps.
At least this room is no biggie. Not only with the King of Sumaria, it's easy, but it's also just a couple thieves and popos. See, like, this is one of those times when the nasty enemies get replaced by very kind enemies. And wow, you find the access to the bumper cave just, like, underneath the doormat.
That's pretty nice. That's one of our 2 items in Skullwoods. Jet's going to go and continue to the back, take care of whatever boss is in Mothula's room, and get his second crystal shortly.
Indeed. There are some bosses that can be very, very nasty on Mothula's arena. 2 bosses cannot appear in it, though, which is Blind, I think, and Trinix. No, it's just Trinix, now I think about it.
Yeah, Blind can be in that room, and that can be really awful.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I mistook it with the Moldrum Arena. The Moldrum Arena cannot have. Skullwoods Arena does, though. Yeah, so I think it can be every boss except Trinix that can appear in it.
All right.
This is like, and here you have the example again of like super nasty enemies replacing just a couple bars, like a Lionel in that room with the floor switches. Meanwhile, the Giptu torch room is just, you know, a fire bar that's easy to dodge and like a bouncing skull.
Get a vanilla Gyptos holding that key.
And the spike traps.
Wallmasters are still existent in Skullwoods. They are never removed from the pool. However, Wallmasters can also appear in any other dungeon.
That is true. Yeah, you can suddenly get pulled out of, say, Ice Palace, and that is very, very bad. That said, we fight a Vanilla Mothula today.
That was weird. I wasn't expecting that. But we got our second item, so we're done with our checks in Skullwoods, and that's crystal number 2.
Indeed.
I know that I was talking with Jet earlier, and he was hoping to find Helmasorn there. Sadly, his dreams were not realized today.
Oh well. Helmacopter can appear another day, maybe. And we might still get, like, weird clipped Helmasaur in, like, the Moldrum 2 arena or something.
Right. Kuchiri did not check Ice Rod Cave earlier. He's going to do that now. Going to be disappointed with what he finds in there. And looks like Jet is going to walk over to Bumper Ledge to check that new item.
Yeah, you have the item that you know, like normally it would be just a regular check, but you have the item that you use to get it. So if there's something there, you may as well check it right now if you're already in the region.
Okay, Kuchiri going to
Whoa!
the desert.
But it's a bowl on the Bumper Ledge.
And that was a tempered sword on Desert Ledge. Don't have the ability to get it yet. We'll need the book or the mirror. But yeah, Jet is absolutely going for that bow. That bow is hard required for Pod due to the statue at the back. And that is our first bow. There are 2 bows in the seed. There's no reason that Kuchiri will find that one first, but he probably will get that one. And Kuchiri going back to the Mire area now, as Jet finds 20 rupees in the C-shaped house. And it is Ether for Mire. No reason to dip inside of it yet, even if we could.
Meanwhile, Jet is gonna take all those items into Thieves Town here. There's 4 items here, and let's see if Jet remembers that you don't have to bomb the attic hole. Yeah, because even if it is blind, if there's boss shuffle going on here, you don't need to blow up the attic hole, and you also don't have to carry the maiden up into Blind's room. The maiden isn't even there. We do find bombos here in the front, so I guess we could full clear Telerock now.
Kuchiri gambling and gonna go check Zora. Potentially,
I guess
we'll do a fake Flipper and Scylla setup to do some other Flipper checks.
Yeah. I guess that gloves were so early on that Kuchiri is thinking, maybe this is what I have to do. That's not too bad actually. It's a cold stare. Just blow it up with some fire rod shots, and then I'm surprised actually that Jet didn't use bombos to conserve those fire rod shots, because Master Sword, it's not that good damage dealing to cold stare here.
Same. But he's having no issue with it at all.
Yeah.
Half Magic still had lots of fire rod shots left to weaken the puffs.
And there is the third item in the zone, which is the rupees. And a crystal.
And Zora not worth. Kuchiri doing a hard reset, saving his money.
And let's see if Jet is going to pick up that one item that's left, I think, at least, in Thieves Town. Nope. Gonna go straight for Jetski.
Yeah, I don't blame that. The back of Thieves Town and Enemizer can be really nasty. Sometimes the Hellway can be even worse than vanilla, and the room with the crystal switch tends to have giant rollers in it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely there's a mirror in the brewery, if I saw that right.
Okay, that's really fantastic for routing. He'll likely do dig game, start Smith chain, do the mirror checks along the way to Hype Cave. This is really fantastic for Jet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Kuchiri, following in Jet's footsteps, going to do the same checks, Skull Woods, then likely into Bumper Ledge, get his bow, and do all the same things. The one thing of divergence we may see is Kuchiri may choose to get that last item in Thieves Town. In terms for go mode, we are still looking for a mirror and maybe boots.
You mean the flippers?
The flippers, yes.
Since we did indeed find a mirror, I think.
Yes, that was at Brewery.
Yeah. And possibly the boots, and yeah, that's it. Obviously, we'll probably want to pick up the... Yeah, okay, mirrors in Jet's inventory, so that's alright. Yeah, maybe that tempered sword. That was, I think, on the desert ledge. We might want to pick up that, and otherwise, just looking for those water shoes.
Yep, need those for Swamp Palace. Unfortunately, in any kind of fake flipper setup in the front of Swamp, you still can't climb the ladder to get out. And so flippers are still required for Swamp.
Man, wouldn't that be a nice glitch to find?
Or even some kind of diver down for the front of Swamp. That'd be pretty.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty great if we could sequence break flippers for Swamp. All right, Jet gonna go turn in his smith. No powder or mushroom to do fake powder for the bat, so that's gonna be an orphan if they ever show up.
So chat, somebody in chat is confused about why there is a BMOS in Skull Woods. The reason why there's a BMOS in Skull Woods is because we are playing Enemizer, which shuffles the enemies as well as the items in our lovely Link to the Past Randomizer.
Although it is an actual randomization and not just a shuffle, since Kuchiri sees his vanilla Mothula, because you can get something like, for instance, the Chain Chomps from Turtle Rock. Normally there's only 2 in the vanilla game, but we can often see more than 2 when we play Enemizer. Similarly, there are the Cannon Guards that do not appear in the vanilla game at all, but because they're in the code, they can appear in Enemizer.
Indeed. I was just about to bring up the Cannonball Guards as you talked about them, so yeah, that is like the ultimate statement in that regard. It is fully randomized, right? It's not shuffled. Stumpy, just a crappy single rupee, man.
And yeah, routing in that shovel check. Gonna pick up that money. He, was still a little short if he wanted to check Zora as well as go into Pod.
Mm-hmm.
But money troubles are over for now. Kuchiri got both of the items out of Skullwoods, did the same routing as Jet, didn't have to do any extra checks, but is not going towards the Bumper Ledge, is going back to the village.
Yeah, I imagine Kuchiri's thought here is, I'm gonna do this with Graveyard Ledge once I get the mirror. And since the bow doesn't really do much right now, the bow, in vanilla, the bow technically locks Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness, but in Enemizer, since the kill rooms with the red Igors, the red Igors are completely gone out of the game. So, or at least like out of the kill rooms. So the bow is not required for Eastern Palace, as we've seen earlier, and only the switch that you have to hit in the statue and Pod to get to where normally Helmasaur is the only bow requirement at all.
All right, Kuchiri is going to get his mirror a little bit earlier while Jet is checking Hype Cave.
Wow.
Okay.
Speaking of bows.
so we are in Schrodinger's Go mode, depending on our desert layout here.
Indeed. Man, Fittingly enough, we're getting a chat seed while chat is playing.
Ain't that the way? And yeah, Jet is going to go and take care of Desert. Find out, am I in actual go mode or do I have to look for boots? We'll probably pick up that tempered sword on the ledge if he sees it.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to see the Mire Medallion requirement, which is Ether. We're probably not going to have to go into Mire at all. But, it's good to know.
Stranger things can happen.
Oh, for sure.
And the other check we'll get is Checkerboard Cave over here. Kuchiri wasn't here, didn't have the mirror, was not able to go in that. But
to correct myself, we did find all 4 items in Thief's Town. 3 items were on the front, and the last one was on the boss.
Oh, that's amazing. And yet, Jet gonna pick up that tempered sword.
For sure. So we have tempered sword with red mail. We have silver arrows. What else would we ever want? Like maybe like a powdery 2, and that's it. And even then, it's like we have half magic as well, no less. So
Yeah, we are loaded all the way up. All right, moment of truth for Jet.
It is boots locked. We have a big key here on the torch.
Okay,
we might find a small key and might be able to pull one of the items out of Thief's Town. Not Thief's Town. Desert Palace. And indeed, we get a small key, so we can get at least one of the items, unless the items are in the big chest on the boss.
That would be something if the boots are just right here in the cannonball room. Kuchiri facing off against his cold stare. While Jet's trying to find the other enemy to kill here in Desert.
Yeah, it's one of those. I used to know their name, but those digging plants, and it is indeed the second item. So even though Desert is boots locked, we have got both of the items out of it. So we just need to come back here once we find the boots, pick up the big key, and then just go straight to the boss, and that's it. Man, wouldn't it be something if it was in Checkerboard Cave?
And Kuchiri having no issues with that cold stare either.
Well, it was red, but it was not the item we were looking for. It was just a piece of heart. Of course, now that we're here, we may as well check Agina. So yeah, those boots can be basically anywhere that isn't Ganon's Tower or, well, I mean, Desert Palace.
Or Pyramid Fairy.
Or Pyramid Fairy, that's right. This Desert Palace is indeed one of the 5 cities.
But I imagine our runners are going to go and clear our other crystals first. They'll probably clear Swamp, then Ice Palace, then Pod, because those all route together nicely.
Mm.
We may see a nice icebreaker and diver down in all else respectively.
I really hope so. Those are fairly new glitches that have been found and have been approved to be legal for the purpose of randomizer, and those are pretty cool glitches. And speed up Ice Palace fairly significantly, I would say, and Swamp Palace a little bit. Yeah. That said, looks like Jet is going to opt to go for Pod first. Maybe might want to mirror over and pick up the green pendant afterwards, and then hand it in, just in case.
You know what? That's really good. That's a really smart routing decision by Jet. That he hoots as one of the 5 items in Pod, and then it's really quick to run to the back of Eastern, take care of that Helmasaur, and turn in the green pendant before you make your choice between Ice Palace or Swamp Palace. And one of our runners is having a little bit of an real-life issue, and his opponent was to pause along with him while they take care of it. So, while we've got a little bit of downtime here, let me just kind of recap what's happening in their division. Now, these two teams are in the Pyramid of Power division, one of the 8 divisions in the league. Coming in week 3 Enemizer, they were in a 3-way tie along with the Titansmiths. Now, since Pendrana Drifters and Team 63 and each other 2 times in Enemizer Week. They had their game 1 earlier today between Frostbite 3030 and Reg, and Frostbite 3030 took the win. There was an unfortunate death at the top of Ganon's Tower, but it was a very close, very competitive race. So with a win tonight, Kuchiri kicked this into another 3-way tie for first place.
Yeah, so this is quite exciting.
For sure. The Titansmiths were facing Skullwood's Big Skip this week. So it's shaping out to be a very competitive conference. And right now there are another 2 teams with 9 points in the division, the Broken Triforce and Tile Roomies.
And looks like our runners are ready to go back, and they did a little countdown in the RC, so we're going to see the continuation in just a second here.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, all being told, this hasn't been a terribly bad Enemizer seed so far. You know, having to nope out of the Pendant Eastern early isn't a huge deal. And they got so many safeties, it's made it quite nice and easy.
Yeah, considering that by like 45 minutes in, we had like Tempered and Silvers and Red Mail, and we're more or less in go mode except for Boots. You know, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, the Boots hunt has begun, and I imagine that our runners are going to prioritize clearing Crystal Dungeons before going to any of the pendant. Meyer only having 2 items, and we don't even have the Ether Medallion yet either.
Yeah, the one exception being what you brought up earlier, that Jet may just dip into Eastern Palace really quick and grab that green pendant.
Yeah.
Turtle Rock is...
Yeah, Turtle Rock is full clearable. We also can pick up Mimic Cave on the way, so at least that worry is out of the way. That said,
the wild card.
yeah. That said, you know, you really don't want it if you have Crystal Dungeons to do.
No,
that's such a slow to do dungeon. Like, yes, it has a lot of items, man. So long.
It'll be, you know, that's when if both of our runners have cleared Ice Palace and Swamp Palace and Pod, have not found the boots yet, that's when you pick your pendant dungeon, right? And Turtle Rock is the best play at that point, but there's no reason that the boots can't be that one of the items in Mire. So even though you go and you follow the item density and you go into Turtle Rock, rando be rando, the boots could just be there on whatever the Mire boss is.
Or it could be in one of those overworld checks that are still, like, you know, open. With the cape, we can go into Spy Cave now. We also might find a book or a powder or a mushroom, you know.
And we haven't seen any of the West Dark World checks or East Dark World checks. So we haven't seen Pyramid. We haven't seen Catfish yet. We'll see if Jet writes those in.
We haven't seen Graveyard either, yeah.
Yep. And we have the Flippers checks as well. Jet has those from the Flippers in Hype Cave. Kuchiri will get those shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, we did see what King Zora himself had, and I think the Ledge also had just trash. But we are still, of course, we don't know what Lake Halia Island has. We don't know what waterfall. So that's 4 additional items as well. Still a lot of places where the boots can be.
One really nice piece of routing that Kuchiri could be doing if he's got his head on is that after he grabs the flippers from Hype Cave is to do a quick mirror on the way to Pod and jump in the lake to go and see what's on Lake Hylia Island.
Mm-hmm.
Or even mirror right on the way to Pod and use that mirror spot by the hobo to grab hobo and the floating island. And then you can mirror by catfish to take care of the Zora check. The waterfall check, rather. Our first bow was in Bumper Ledge, and although Kuchiri's first bow is here in Hype Cave, and there are the boots and Pod, we are in go mode at 55-35.
Well, fittingly enough, Jet is having a jet seat here.
Kuchiri is going to go into Swamp, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely looks like a swamp play here. Makes a lot of sense since that is like the dungeon with the most items in it. It has 6 items.
And if you can shoot the 2 diver downs, it saves a bit of time if you need to full clear it.
It's also very possible that Kuchiri is going into this, under the assumption that he's in go mode and, doesn't need the... Oh, okay. Just mirror it over and then decide, you know what, I'm not gonna...
not gonna risk it.
Yeah, looks like Kuchiri wants to make sure whether he's in go mode or not. Of course, this means that unless Kuchiri goes to do Bumper Cave and Graveyard Ledge on the lookout for boots, that
he's probably not going to get silvers.
Yeah. Jet will have the silvers over Kuchiri.
I'm looking right now, just, in terms of progression, this has been a pretty linear seed, and it looks like Jet has, quite a bit of an advantage here. There's unfortunately not much Kuchiri is going to be able to do to make up ground, other than trying to out-execute Jet, which is a really tall order. Jet is extremely good at execution, as evidenced by the fact that he was the 2019 main tournament champion.
Mm-hmm.
But Enemizer can happen. We talked about those Wall Masters. Those Wall Masters are in Ganon's Tower, too.
Yeah, and we have an Argus here in Pod. I like the purple.
Yeah, that's very pretty. I like that a lot. This room, Argus is pretty easy to fight in. This isn't actually a bad room for most bosses. The exception would be Blind, because Blind would be up in those spikes and you can't quite get him.
Yeah, but as Jet just demonstrated there, some of the bosses do get hurt by the spikes, and Argus is one of them. So what Jet did was bounce Argus into the spikes, and the spikes do a lot of damage to the bosses that can be hurt by them. So, it was basically an insta-kill.
Okay, Kuchiri is going to go into Pod. We'll get his boots in the same order. You know what? This is the right call. When he thought he was in go mode, he thought, oh great, I can just go and go mode Swamp, go mode Ice, go mode Pod, and then good for him realizing at the last second, oh no, wait, I might need boots. So this is really, really fantastic, and Jet is Kuchiri's gonna be following in Jet's heels, but you know what? That's no bad thing to be in. If you can be making all the same decisions as Jet, then you're making some pretty good choices here.
Mm. Yeah, Kuchiri has by no means has had by no means any sort of bad routing at all. Maybe like a little bit of time here and there, but it was mostly like just the order of like how it laid out. Since both of them basically did the same, but like in different order, that was basically like the main difference here. And like the one thing that Kuchiri did that could have been avoided would have been that mirroring over by swamp, but that's like, it's a couple seconds. Really, that much of a time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like how it fell into place. This could have easily been Kuchiri's lead as well.
Oh, for sure. With the early glove in Escape, and getting all of our Moon Pearl in the back of Escape, everything over on East Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was. I mean, once we had Dark Galaxis, it was actually fairly open, but there wasn't all that much we could have done.
I mean, it was open and it wasn't, right? Because we didn't have the flippers, so we couldn't do swamp or ice. We didn't have the bow, so pod was disincentivized. So all that you really had, Kuchiri, you need a key.
And as you can see, there was a wall master, so gotta be careful.
So all you had was Skullwoods and Thievestown, and because we had, always makes more sense to do Skullwoods first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skullwoods and Thievestown both also held items that we kind of needed, I think.
Skullwoods had the cape, which led to that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that
was
what I'm thinking of.
Not strictly required. Advanced Logic does not require silver arrows for Ganon. They're not necessarily in Logic, but they were easily obtainable this seed.
Yeah. And, yeah.
All right, we will find out shortly what the boss of Swamp Palace is, as Kuchiri makes his way through Pod. Got to get to the Dark Maze to get his boots.
Now I think about it, it was Village of Outcasts, not Thievestown, that had the stuff that we needed.
Yeah, Thievestown only had the boss.
Yeah. I mean, we did need the boss, so.
And we get our second Cold Stare here. Cold Stare was also the boss in Thievestown. We're not going to see at least three of the bosses, potentially 4 bosses, depending on where the GT Big Key is. But we do have our first repeat.
Yep. This also means that we won't see Cold Stare anymore at all this.
Oh, and that spike on the bridge is rude. Kuchiri's gonna go pull out his cape. Don't risk it.
There's some really nasty things that can happen with this bridge. I've seen once there was one of those spike traps on the top side, and it was basically camping that spot there. You were able to damage boost through it, but it was kind of specific, so it was basically like Kena Burn or Cape Soft required. So it can be really nasty enemy layouts that make it nigh impossible to proceed.
Oh, for sure. All the narrow bridges, the ones in Pod, the ones in Turtle Rock as well, going to Laser Bridge, those can be really awful as well.
And GT as well, of course, that collapsing bridge with the conveyors.
Mm-hmm. And then the next room with the torches. You can get a chain chomp replacing that fire bar.
Yeah.
That's really rude. Jet is on to Ice Palace, his second last dungeon. I imagine he's going to go and do Icebreaker, so we'll give him a little chance to set that up, because Ice Palace goes by really quick if you're using Icebreaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we might also see a Diver Down in Swamp Palace. If you don't need these items, then Diver Down doesn't save you that much time. But if you want to open those 2 chests in that flooded room, then
Jet is not going for the Icebreaker.
Oh. Maybe he hasn't learned it yet. It is a fairly recent glitch, and wasn't whether it was legal or not was up until earlier this week. So,
for a couple of the races that I've talked to this week, some of the runners, as soon as it was legal, they practiced it that very day.
Yeah.
Some other ones had just been, practicing it out of curiosity before it was legalized, just thinking, well, just in case, or practicing it for major glitches logic. But it looks like Jet has chosen not to do it this seed. So that's something that we can ask him about. It saves so much time. You can tell right away if people are going for it, because that second room with the pengators that has the button that you press fit it, rather than going back out the door, you go out the other door that we normally would never go out of, and you use a Samaria block and some pixel perfect placement to allow yourself to clip through the block and through the railing, and you get right to the big key chest and ice.
Mhm. Yeah, this might be a place where Kuchiri might be saving some time if Kuchiri can do the icebreaker glitch and does it.
Yeah, because it saves you 5 rooms in Ice Palace, including that really long conveyor room.
And you don't have to do the bomb jump.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as the bomb jump saves time in Ice Palace, Icebreaker saves even more time.
Yeah.
And we are just 1 room away from finding out what our boss of Ice Palace is.
Yeah, this is going to be the second to last boss that we're going to see in the dungeon. And it is
Lanmolas. You can always tell it's Lanmolas because the arena is empty.
Yeah. And of course, with the Silver Arrows, 1 shot, 1 kill, and 1 cycle Lanmo. Always very nice to see.
Beautifully done. So all Jet has left is Desert Palace, and then he will be on his way up the mountain to Ganon's Tower.
Indeed. And meanwhile, Kuchiri finishes off Argus in Helmasar's spot.
Jet picking up that fake Master Sword just to throw it around. That's one of the nicest things. It's kind of funny that those count as enemies in Enemizer.
Yeah, it's one of those like traps, I guess. You know, kind of like the spike traps can appear as well on the rollers, even though they're not strictly speaking enemies. So, I guess they count for that as well, for some reason.
All right, I'm gonna go quickly grab that big key off the torch, mirror out, and head to the boss of Desert. Kuchiri gonna go back into Swamp. Does he still have his mirror portal here? This would be really nice if he does.
I think he might have.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Fair enough.
So let me think. He might actually still have it. No, because he went and he grabbed his tempered sword, and so he mirrored again. Because he mirrored into Swamp, then he went to the Mire area,
Desert, yeah,
and mirrored into Desert, so he doesn't have it anymore. But that's a shame. It is possible to save a little bit of time in Go Mode Swamp with Diver Down, but you'd have to get it right on the first try.
Yeah.
You get to skip the draining the water at the very back for the 2 flooded chests.
And pushing the statue.
That's true, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like the only things you can save. And so if you were to open, like if you were still looking at chests, you do get have a little bit more time saved. Just go for the diver down to get to.
And we have that 5-eyed Moldorm, not long for this world.
Yeah, the tempered sword and no risk of falling at all, so you don't have to dodge. Moldorm is not hard.
But we have our 7th crystal. Red, you want to tell our chat about why they might be entering some numbers in chat?
Well, sure, I can mind of me. And one of the things we like doing here in the random community is the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. So in order to climb Ganon's Tower, we need the big key. And so we have to go to the basement. And there are 22 item locations in which this big key could be hiding. We'd like to guess which number it is. And during the leak here, you'll even be entered on the leaderboards if you guess right and get a bunch of cool internet points.
I love internet points.
Who doesn't?
I am all about meaningless appreciation. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah. So this is just for fun, of course. The winner of the leaderboard just gets honors of being on top of the leaderboard. And the more people enter, the higher the amount of points you win if you guess right. And if you guess right, but you're not the first, you even get some bonus points regardless.
Everybody wins.
Indeed.
If you guess correctly. But in a way, even playing the game is a form of winning, because you get invested into your seed. Jet is about to enter Ganon's tower, waiting for the 7 maidens to do their dance. Well, and
I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it being the maidens dancing. It looks like Kuchiri is not gonna do Davagon.
Nope, gonna go for the vanilla strats, and Jet is starting with Hope Room.
The classic start of the route. Small key, so it's presumably gonna be continuing on to the right. Yep. You're gonna go straight through Tile Room, because why would you do Tile Room?
Exactly. Now let's see what we've got in the Torch Room today. Got one of those fast red guards, a fast blue guard, Gibdo.
So, I think Kuchiri might still be looking for the silver arrows, because he keeps opening up some chests on the way here. We did find the Ether Medallion here now in the flooded room chest, so...
Okay. You know what? Ether is actually a really nice find, especially for Ganon's tower.
Oh, yeah.
In the Gauntlet, it takes care of a lot of enemies and is faster than Bombos.
Sure, that is true. So that was checks 3 through 6. Say that quickly 3 times. And then we are going to go to the left side.
All right. I do know that Kuchiri is not 100% comfortable with Silverless Ganon, so it's not surprising to me that he's looking for it, but we find our last bottle on the torch for check number 7.
Yeah, and Jet picks it up. It is a free blue goo. Why would you spurn that, you know?
Oh, for sure. Especially climbing the tower in Enemizer.
Oh, yeah. Even though Aghanim 2 and Ganon are still Aghanim 2 and Ganon, you can see like stuff like the red guards here are super annoying to fight, because they're fast.
Or we could get like a second Vitreous up at Moldorm 2.
Ugh. Well, I mean, actually, it's not that bad. Well, there's our big key as well. So that was...
I believe that's number 11.
11.
And the first guess for JohnBoy81918, congratulations, number 11. You get the big 10 points. Well done, congratulations. And Jet is on his way up the gauntlet.
Yep.
Now, like for instance, the normal mimic rooms here, these are rooms that can easily be a lot quicker with ether rather than having to hunt down these enemies. Especially the ones that are going to bury under the floor.
Yeah. Luckily, the kill rooms cannot have enemies that you can't kill, so the gauntlet will not actually have any at all.
Nope, and that's the case for all kill rooms in Enemizer. They won't have anything that requires a specific weapon to kill. So no red Igors, no red mimics, and no terrapins.
Yeah, and as I said, no non-killable enemies. So, it's those Ice Palace creatures.
Yeah, I don't blame Jet for going for Bombos. Having to chase these guys down on conveyors is not fun. And Kuchiri is, gonna go and check this first chest in Ice Palace just in case it's silvers.
It's like the 3 on the bottom. Yeah. So as you can see, most that normally would be are replaced as well. But yeah, this is like one of the things that might make the gauntlet a bit easier to handle, because the BMOs can be really annoying to deal with.
Oh, for sure. Oh, and these Hinox, also not pleasant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, medallions don't help with them.
And Jet is gonna chug that red potion. So whatever bosses, just fittingly enough, Molarm in both Desert Palace and Land Motuarian.
Yep, another 5 items. So we've seen 2 of our duplicates. We've seen 2 Cold Stares, 2 Moldworms. Trinex cannot be at Moldworm 2. Armos can't be at Moldworm 2.
And I think Blind can't be at Moldworm 2 either.
Yeah, Blind can't be. So we'll either see... So I think that we have to see another duplicate at Moldworm 2.
Yeah, it has to be Vitreous, Mothula, Argus, or Hamelsaur. Or, well, it can't be Moldworm.
Yeah.
Oh, Lenmolus also can't be in Moldworm.
Yep.
So, yeah. It has to be a duplicate. We don't know which one, but it has to be. At least one of the ones.
Did we see a second Helmasaur? Because we had the one in Eastern, and we had the one...
We did not see a second Helmasaur. Okay. No, actually, no, we did. Did we? I want to say we did, but... No, I don't think we did, actually, now I think about it. Well, I might be wrong. Well, we'll see. We'll see in just a second anyway. Oh, man, this is gross.
This is pretty gross. And this is
luckily
worse.
Luckily, the pattern wasn't too bad. Same for this one. Okay, so this room's, on the other hand, is like,
That's pretty free.
Yeah.
Well, you're not getting that chest, no matter how much you want it.
Yeah. And no anti-fairy powder, just... Oh, well, there's Helmasaur.
Alright, one more Helmasaur, and Jet gonna attempt some bomb strats. It is really difficult to line up hammer hits on this narrow platform.
Yeah, and Jet just not paying more attention to Helmasaur, so unfortunately falls. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, four bombs are required to break the mask, and Jet only has 4 left. He's used 2.
He did get one, and now, he's out of bombs. Can't get it done. But at least if you break most of it off, you can then try to do hammers for the last bit of it.
Yeah.
And then, he just got it. That one that I thought missed, he must have just missed it.
Yeah. And he's gonna use the cape and some couple swings with the tempered sword to take out the boss here. Meanwhile, Kuchiri finishes Ice Palace, has only Desert Palace left, and will be on his way to begin his as well.
All right.
Last chest, just 10 arrows.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nothing that found that would have made it easier.
And here's the last enemized room of the sea. This one can be really nasty.
Yeah.
Lucked out with only the one big spike trap in there. Sometimes it can be, with the bumpers and ice, it's not pleasant.
Yeah, it could be rollers or chain chomps or not. So, all in all, the enemies, there were a couple of rooms that were pretty nasty, but nothing that couldn't be overcome fairly easily. So this was a very generous seed overall, I would argue. Wow, Aghanim.
Jeez, Aghanim.
Just dodged that one bullet, teleporting away. What a jerk.
Okay, this is a really nice pattern to finish it off, though.
Yeah.
And Kuchiri. Oh no, Kuchiri. You forgot the big key. You forgot the big key.
Oh boy. We'll run into the big key door soon enough, at least. Did not notice there's no big key in the inventory, so we'll have to go through these kill rooms again. Meanwhile, Jet is going to drop into the Pyramid of Power, face off The big pig.
Getting a little bit of the Floyd in there. Tempered sword. 12 slashes per phase. Setting up
Indeed.
for the 1-1 for phase 2.
Yeah, this is a really good pattern for doing position, rather. Oh, Kuchiri just realized. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
At least that wall stays open, so we don't have to see that cutscene again.
For
Meanwhile,
sure.
Meanwhile, Jet is in phase 3 here on Ganon, and then we'll just have to do 4 shots to the heart with the silver arrows.
Yep, and those Ganon warps were quite friendly.
Oh yeah. All the hallmarks of a Jet seat, more or less.
There we go. Kuchiri grabs his big key, mirrors out, gonna run to the back. One more silver arrow left for Jet.
Oof.
Ooh, just about
That looked
there.
Yeah, that looked very, very close there.
Get your GGs in for Jet 082, taking down Ganon, about to cross the bridge. Finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 21 minutes and 8 seconds. And shortly after, Kuchiri enters in the dot forfeit. He knows what else he had to do this seed. He had to go and take care of the Desert Palace boss and climb the tower. So got some GGs in chat for Kuchiri as well.
GG's to both of our runners, both of which also are joining us here for a little chit-chat. Chat, Kuchiri, GG's, and congrats on the win, Jet.
Yeah. Hey, GG's and well played to both of you.
Thanks.
So let's, you know what, for an Animizer, at least from our position up here watching, not that bad.
Oh, I thought I somehow randomed the seed, and I thought I was in the lead at one point in time.
You know what, I would say that, you know what, up until, like, Skull Woods, it was pretty even.
Oh my gosh, that's Skull Woods, though. All the roller pins.
Oh, like I went through Skull Woods and Thieves Town, and I found all the items in them without exploring more than half the dungeon. I was like, what the? Okay, I can take this.
Those were a God Skull Woods, God Thieves Town.
No medallion requirement.
Oh, yeah. That was too generous. That was weird. I'm like, no, we're gonna have to go in. And I got Bombos, somewhat early in Dark World. I'm like, oh no, it's really gonna want me to go do Turtle Rock to get flippers or boots or something. I was waiting for it.
Also, I'd like to thank Jet for being a team player with me today while I've been sick.
Yeah, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, get better soon.
No, I knew I was going to lose today. I just I was like, oh crap, what's happening? What's going to happen if I have to run?
I mean, honestly, to be fair, like by the time both of you got into Dark World, because both of you did basically the same stuff, just in the Light World, like in the early game, just in different order, and it could have gone either way.
Yeah, exactly. Kuchiri, you were the first one to the Glove and Moon Pearl. Jet was the first one to go get, Master Sword and Hook Shot, but you were both on the mountain at pretty much the same time.
Yeah, no, I just felt so good riding that seed. And of course, I'm just happy that was kind of close. I guess I would have been like 10 minutes behind if I decided to finish up the seed. I saw that nasty helm on top, though, so who knows how that would have went.
Listen, I had my practice yesterday, and I fell to Moldorm 2 Helmasaur like 6 times. That guy is a jerk. So
yeah, that's probably the worst arena to fight Helmasaur in, because you don't have a lot of room to maneuver, and to hit the mosque as well, because the arena is so narrow. It's
Right.
pretty. Yeah.
What was in the desert room? The Lamos 2 room.
Another Moldorm. The exact same Moldorm.
Oh, it's okay. So yeah, no, I would have probably get held up by the Helmosaur. So yeah, no, I've probably been about 12 minutes behind.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not bad,
been.
though.
We've seen all 3 duplicates. We've seen 2 Cold Stairs, 2 Moldorms.
Yeah.
I
No
felt
blind.
good. I felt good about my V fight, even though I had to use a potion,
You know what? I would
and my
say
Cold
that
Stairs fight.
I would say that your Hera Vidi fight, Kuchiri, was probably a little bit faster than Jet's, because you went in there, you were going for the spin strats while Jet was hanging up at the top and just trying to take the eyeballs out one by one.
Yeah, I didn't actually practice that fight, so I'm like, maybe playing it safe is okay since we were sort of lower on health then. I don't know.
No, I my whole strat was just keep on swinging my sword, kind of like doing cape strats without the boots. That was basically my strat for that fight.
But we didn't see blind, we didn't see Trinex, we didn't see Armos.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we know exactly what bosses were independent. Well, we had to reef the ice Armos.
Ice
So
Armos.
one is at ice Armos, one is at Meyer, one's at Todorok.
Mhm.
Vanilla Trinex? Anyone?
Ice Trinex.
Oh god, ice Trinex is also the worst. Speaking of things that I failed at practice, it's another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were going to ask about both of you actually about Icebreaker and Diver Down.
Have either of you practiced them or familiar with them?
No. So
I
I'm
was-
mostly. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jet.
I was just gonna say I was practicing before the race, and I have them, but I was curious. Like we got Kane, I think right away, wasn't it? In Sank,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
man, the seed wants us to do Icebreaker, but considering I did Go Mode Ice, I actually calculated the difference between it, and it's only, I mean, Enemizer does make the vanilla route a little longer, but it's still only about a 10 to 20 second difference. So I'm like, it's not really worth going for at that point. And same thing with Diver Down. We were basically in go mode, so I'm like, there's no real difference there. It's such a small handful. I'm like, why waste the resources? Although I had Kane, you could do the Kane method. I don't know.
Yeah, for Icebreaker, it's definitely the time saving. I guess that you must have thought that you were already more than 10 to 20 seconds ahead of Kuchiri at that point.
Well, it's just I don't know. I didn't, in case there was a wall master and that just makes it hard. I'm just like, don't even try. I did try to do Harapot, but unfortunately, while I was walking up there, I picked up the item that was dropped by the enemy.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid it because you have to wait till it's on the ground. And I picked it up in midair. I'm like, crap, this is probably not going to work. I tried it once and I'm like, it failed. So I'm just like, I guess so I was going to retry it, but then I'm like, nah, just go downstairs.
Yeah. That was like the one instance where it actually would have helped, because like the first item was like in the cage, and the second item was right in the lobby chest, like in the big chest lobby chest.
So that was of the glitches that you mentioned. That was the one I've practiced the least. I know the setup because it's just a set up a pixel type thing, but I didn't practice as much as Icebreaker and Diver Down.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Absolutely fair. Well, thank you guys for running once again. Be sure to follow both Jet082 and Kuchiri on their channels to get all their practices in. If you want to make sure that to catch the rest of their races as they continue to go through the league. So both of your teams are now done with week 3. Fendrana Drifters goes to 15 points. Going into week 4 for Mystery. How are you guys feeling about that?
Well, the weeks I don't play, we go 2-0, so I feel pretty good.
I have to say, in general, I love the league format. Having my 2 teammates, Megawatt and Frostbite, just to practice with, do practice runs, talk about strategy, just hanging out. It's a lot of fun. I know for us, week 4 is going to be very tough. It's sort of like a rematch from season 1 for us. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to do some practice of mystery seeds. Mystery seeds are very, very interesting. So I think it's going to be a fun week no matter what. You're going to see a lot of variety on here.
Hey,
So
you guys
you're
are against
facing
the
Yeah.
Titan Mitts.
Yeah, so this could be a potentially Titans Mitts win their other race this week. That could be facing off the tie for first place for next week.
So, and then we're against Broken Triforce, which I feel like we should have a decent chance against them. Like, I'm not going to lie, my team went this week knowing that it was likely an 0-2 week. We had a strategy going in, we almost did the 1-1. Greg was so close to getting the victory off of Frost. But, oh yeah, no, it was fun. We're going to be. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks. We get to deal with the Titans Mitts the final week, so.
Oh, for the co-op all dungeons.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the mystery one though, because like part of what makes mystery so interesting is the runners having to figure out what the settings are, you know.
And the commentators too.
Oh yeah, the comment for sure. Yeah, but yeah, this was definitely still a really good race. So despite your dented health, Kuchiri, and I do hope you get better soon, you performed pretty well.
Thanks, man.
Sure. GG's to both of you. Feel better soon, Kuchiri. Do you guys know when you guys are planning to race next?
I'm in week 5.
Okay, cross keys. And Jet, do you know when you plan to race next? Are you going to plan on racing in mystery?
I think we're sort of playing it by ear.
Okay.
Of course, now we have a lot of free time in life, so working out with my teammates and our opponents, and we'll see.
Well, for all of us who have a lot of free time, there is plenty of league action to watch. 64 races every week. Trying to broadcast them as many as we can. Be sure to follow the ALTTPR League and the ALTTPR League 2 through 4, as well as our friends on Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. You can see the full schedule there in the exclamation point league, going to the ALTTPR website to see where the standings are, who's facing who, what the matches are. All Enemizer this week, all the way through Sunday, and then Mystery starts week 4. Mystery settings, super hype. Enemizer settings, super hype. It's going to be hype all the way down, all the way to week 7.
Week 5, of course, is then going to be cross keys. Then I think it's spoil log and then the co-op, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be very exciting. And of course, it's not over for us today either, because over on DLTTPR League 2 race currently in progress. Did you check your boot versus CLW? And Speed Gaming 5 and Speed Gaming both just like 15 minutes ago started as well. So if you want to get some more rando in for today, hop on over there.
Absolutely. And we've got a full schedule again tomorrow, starting at 1:10 Eastern, going all the way to 10:25 Eastern.
Correction, starting 12:10 p.m. Eastern, actually.
Oh, you're quite right. You're quite right.
Yeah. So starting from noon Eastern up until way into the night. So lots and lots of rando, lots and lots of Enemizer. So make sure to check that out. Sadly, we're not going to see the Fendrana Drifters or the team 63 1/3. That's a mouthful. Again, for this week. But next week, of course, we're going to see them again.
Absolutely. So, GDs, once again to you, give them both a follow. It's free. It helps the runners out, gives you things to watch. Big shout out to our tracker, Ediump, for clicking the buttons. Thank you so much, Red, for joining me on comms tonight, and I'll let you have the last word.
Thank you as well to Mind of Me, and thank you to the Link to the Past Randomizer League for putting on this excellent show for us. I know there's a lot of work going on behind the scene, and thank you everybody for watching.